The 7th of September, 1890. Today, as I opened the letter from Dr. Edmund Blackwood, I was struck by a feeling of palpable excitement. Each word seemed to radiate with vibrant energy, as if the paper in my hands were the starting point for something grand. The invitation for an interview at Asylum Blackwood was more than just a job offer, it was a call to a new chapter in my life, one that I knew I would need to embrace with all my being. Asylum Blackwood was unlike any other treatment facility I had known. It wasn't just a psychiatric institution, but rather a sanctuary for the human mind, a place where the boundaries of science and philosophy would meet in a unique and innovative space. Dr. Blackwood was not content with the traditional approaches he saw in other hospitals. He spoke of a new paradigm, where patients would not merely be treated, but truly understood, as complex human beings with deep histories of suffering that required more than simple therapies. As I read his words, I couldn't help but feel that Asylum Blackwood represented something unique, something far greater than a mere job opportunity. It was a space where I could truly put into practice everything I had always dreamed of, treating people holistically, helping them find the peace they sought within themselves. Dr. Blackwood had a vision of healing that went beyond any conventional idea I had ever known. He spoke of transformation, and this transformation would not be merely physical, but mental and emotional, allowing patients to regain control over their lives and their minds. I, who had always believed that the true power of healing lies in empathy, in hands that know how to offer comfort and understanding, knew that this would be the perfect place for me. The idea of being head nurse in such a place seemed like something straight out of my boldest dreams. It would be a privilege to stand by someone like Dr. Blackwood, whose revolutionary ideas were admired even by the most skeptical. He was not just a doctor, he was a visionary. And to be chosen to be part of his team filled me with immense pride, as though I had finally found my true purpose. The role of head nurse, with its immense responsibilities, seemed tailor-made for me. It wasn't just about administering care, but about being part of a larger mission, guiding those who arrived at Asylum Blackwood in search of recovery. I would not just be a nurse, I would be a companion on the journey of healing, helping to restore balance between body and mind, supporting those in moments of great vulnerability. As someone who had always dedicated themselves to easing the suffering of others, I could not imagine a more rewarding position. Dr. Blackwood, with his vision and leadership, promised me that here I could go beyond, touching the lives of others in ways I had never imagined. This would not just be another job, it would be the fulfillment of a dream. A chance to make a profound and genuine difference, alongside a committed and purposeful team. I couldn't be more excited. Everything I had always sought, everything I had always believed was possible in the field of healing, was right before me. Asylum Blackwood represented the pinnacle of my career, the culmination of a journey I hadn't known I had started. And the feeling that overwhelmed me was pure joy. A quiet, serene joy, as though I had finally found my place in the world. I knew this wouldn't just be a job, it would be the opportunity to make history. And, being chosen to be part of this place, I felt as though my life had finally gained a clear purpose. Asylum Blackwood was not just a chance for professional growth. It was the chance to be part of something much greater. I felt ready. The future had never seemed so promising. The 8th of September, 1890. I visited Asylum Blackwood today, and upon my arrival, I was immediately enveloped by a unique and inexplicable sensation. The place, isolated in the hills, seemed as though it had been taken from another time, removed from the frantic bustle of the city, like a refuge where the disturbances of the outside world dare not intrude. The tranquility that emanates from the asylum struck me at once. There were no screams or uproar, like the psychiatric hospitals I know. Here, an almost sacred calm prevails, a silent space where the mind can finally find some peace. I was welcomed with genuine warmth, and Dr. Blackwood, as promised, personally guided me through every corner of the place. He is an imposing presence, a man whose stature conveys undeniable magnetism. When he speaks, his words flow like melodies, intertwining with the very air, laden with a deep, almost philosophical conviction. There is a fiery passion in everything he says about the human mind, and when he describes his methods for healing troubled minds, it is impossible not to be instantly filled with admiration. He speaks of exploring the boundaries of reason, about how crucial it is to go beyond what traditional medicine teaches in order to truly understand what makes the human mind lose itself in its own labyrinths. Every word of his overflows with unwavering confidence, and it is easy to see why he is so highly regarded. I, for one, could not be more excited at the prospect of being part of something so innovative, so ahead of its time. As we walked through the wide corridors, I felt a delightful mixture of fascination and excitement. The asylum, despite its simplicity, has a subtle grandeur. It is not a place of luxury or pomp, but there is something deeper within it, something that reflects the grand vision of its creator. The way Dr. Blackwood describes the future of the institution, a space where treatment is not only physical but also deeply human and philosophical, made me see it not as a hospital, but as fertile ground for something revolutionary. The idea of contributing to such a significant project is an inspiring prospect. During our conversation, he offered me a personal room within the asylum, a way to be even closer to the environment and the needs of everyone. The idea of living there, among the patients and staff, did not sound like an obligation, but rather like a unique opportunity for immersion. Not just to observe and help, but to become an active part of this space that breathes the idea of transformation. I can hardly wait to begin. This is not merely a new job, it is a new beginning, a chance to build something grand. I felt as though I was being called to be part of something that transcends the ordinary. Asylum Blackwood is much more than just a place of healing, it is a place where perhaps one can understand what it truly means to heal. I am eager to settle in and start my new journey, even though, deep down, a small and curious part of me wonders just how far this journey may take me. The 10th of September, 1890. Today, I officially began my work at Asylum Blackwood. At first, I didn't know what to expect. However, upon entering the place, I was immediately enveloped by a calm that, honestly, I hadn't imagined I would find. The asylum is different. There is no uproar, no shouting, no desperation that I typically associate with psychiatric hospitals. Here, stillness reigns. The patients are few, but there is no agitation, no panic in their eyes. There is only a kind of heavy quiet, as though their minds, though lost, are immersed in a state of deep introspection. Each of them seems absorbed in their own world. It's not the frantic behavior one would expect from someone who suffers. No. Here, they are almost at peace, as strange as that may sound. Their vacant gazes, their still bodies, are accompanied by a silence that borders on reverence. As if the very asylum itself were a sanctuary, a home for their souls, disconnected from the rest of the world. Somehow, the tranquility of this place sends a chill through me. The silence holds something profound, something that moves beneath the surface, yet no one dares to question it. Dr. Blackwood watched me intently during the first tasks I undertook. He is an imposing man, but his gaze is focused, precise. Everything he does seems to have a purpose, and, somehow, he makes me feel as though I am an essential part of this great mechanism that is taking shape. There is something in his presence that evokes both admiration and discomfort. He is, without a doubt, a man of great intelligence and vision. During our conversation, he spoke about how the human mind can be healed not just with medicine, but with deep mental stimuli. According to him, it's not just about treating, but about exploring the most hidden corners of reason, the limits of sanity. It was then that he made me an offer. He wants me to become more involved in the experiments he is conducting, to become an active observer. At first, I thought it was a unique opportunity. The prospect of learning from him, participating in something revolutionary, seemed irresistible. However, something in the tone of his voice made me hesitate. He spoke with absolute confidence, but there was something in his eyes that sent a chill down my spine. As if he knew something that I did not. As if he were guiding me down a path that I could not yet fully see. While a part of me feels drawn to this proposal, another, more cautious part, begins to question. What exactly does he want me to observe? What is happening here that he isn't telling me? Something tells me that Asylum Blackwood hides more than just the search for the cure of the mind. I can't shake the feeling that I am beginning to notice the first signs of something larger, something that moves in the shadows, something that no one, not even Dr. Blackwood, dares to name. I wonder if I was chosen to contribute to this grand project, or if, somehow, I am being lured into something from which I may never escape. Only time will tell. The 12th of September, 1890. Things began to take an unsettling turn today. Dr. Blackwood, who until now had seemed so confident, so unshakable, has become increasingly intense. His instructions, once so precise and clear, now sound like an obsession, an urgent need to control every aspect of what is happening. He asks me to observe the patients with such meticulous detail that I begin to question whether he is truly seeking a cure, or if he is simply manipulating their minds, leading us all to a point of no return. What he proposes is no longer just treatment. No. He speaks about exploring the limits of reason, but as his words unfold, I realize that the limits he refers to are not merely intellectual. They are dangerous, sinister, as though the path to healing involves something deeper, more disturbing. And the strangest part, he speaks about it with a feverish enthusiasm, a blind confidence that I can no longer discern if he truly believes in what he is doing or if he has already lost himself in the shadows of his own mind. He asks me to observe everything, every word the patients say, every movement, no matter how subtle, the look they exchange, the involuntary tremor of a hand. Nothing, absolutely nothing, can escape his control. And somehow, I'm being drawn into this whirlwind. As if, by being invited to observe, I am also becoming part of it. I, who have always criticized invasive methods, who have always considered myself rational, now find myself caught up in something that challenges everything I understand about the human mind. And worse still, something inside me is starting to enjoy it. Today, while examining one of the calmer patients, a man who spent his days in complete silence, I began to notice a slight change. His breathing, once regular, seemed more agitated, as though he were trying to suppress something. I became obsessed with every gesture, every expression. What was happening to him? Why was Dr. Blackwood so interested in this particularity? At first, I thought it was just a nervous reaction, but now, I have my doubts. What I saw in this man's eyes, it wasn't fear. It was something more primal. Something that shouldn't have been there. But the most disturbing thing, without a doubt, was what happened at night. The corridors, once peaceful, seemed longer, more oppressive. The walls were closing in, as if the asylum itself were encroaching upon me. And the silence was thick, as though something were filling it. And then, I heard it. Whispers. Faint, but distinct. As if the very walls were speaking to me. I moved toward the source of the sound, but there was no one there. Just the echo of my own breath. Even so, something told me I wasn't alone. Asylum Blackwood, once a serene refuge, now feels like a living organism. And this organism seems to be watching me. The shadows, which once were just peripheral stains in my vision, now seem to crawl along the walls. They stretch, they elongate, as if they want to envelop me, trap me. I know I am beginning to lose control, not only over what I see, but over what I feel. Something inside me is being altered, and I don't know if I am ready to face what I'm becoming. What is real and what is delusion? I can no longer say for certain. Today, Dr. Blackwood asked me once more to record every detail of each patient. Their fears, their reactions. What unsettles me is not just his obsession. It is my own reaction. No matter how much my mind tries to resist, I can't help but feel part of something larger. And that terrifies me. Am I observing, or am I being observed? The 15th of September, 1890. Today, the atmosphere in the asylum shifted subtly, but unmistakably. The serenity I had so admired, which seemed to be the very essence of this place, has now transformed into a constant pressure, as if the air itself had grown thicker, laden with something invisible, seeping into every corner. The patients, who had been calm, have started behaving erratically. Some mumble incoherent words, as if trapped in a nightmare from which they cannot awaken. Others fixate on invisible points, their vacant gazes lost in an abyss that I cannot see. It's as though something inside them is unraveling, as if their very sanity is slipping through their fingers, collapsing with every breath. Dr. Blackwood, immersed in his research, seems oblivious to it all. He continues his work, tireless and meticulous as ever, but something in his posture tells me that he is hiding more than he reveals. I once believed him to be a man of science, someone with a clear and rational vision, but now I see there is something darker in his behavior. His eyes, once so confident, now carry a shadow that I cannot ignore. He is more distant, more absent, as though he is being consumed by something he cannot control. He speaks enthusiastically about his experiments, but I feel his words growing emptier, lifeless, as if they are disintegrating into the air. What once seemed like a controlled environment for study now feels much denser, more oppressive. There is a tension in the air, an invisible force that seems to envelop every room, every corridor, as though the asylum itself has become a battlefield of unknown energies, forces that are entangling and growing stronger by the day. I, who have always sought knowledge, now find myself trying to understand what is happening inside me. Something is changing, something I cannot control. I am not the same. And the most disturbing thing of all is the growing sense that something is watching me. At first, I thought it was just a feeling, a fleeting sensation, but now I know it's not. It's real. The whispers in the corridors, the distant sounds that shouldn't be there, as if the very walls of the asylum are breathing, murmuring unspeakable secrets. Something is moving here, something I cannot comprehend. Sometimes, I think I see shadows at the edges of my vision, but when I turn, there is nothing. Yet, for some reason, I know I am not alone. Something, or someone, is here. Hidden within the walls, within the shadows, waiting. Waiting for what? I don't know how much longer I can stay here. Something inside me screams to leave, but at the same time, a part of me has already been taken, absorbed by the asylum, as if it has started to intertwine with my own flesh and blood. Something has already entangled me, and I no longer know if I am even capable of escaping. Or worse still, perhaps I no longer want to escape. The 18th of September, 1890. Today, Sarah arrived. She was paralyzed by fear. Her eyes, wide and frantic, seemed to see something beyond us, something that eluded us all. When I found her, she was trembling, her fingers clutching her neck, as though trying to ward off something invisible. The words that came from her mouth were incoherent, a whirlwind of uncontrollable fears. Eyes, they're down there, they see me. But the terror in her voice was not that of a delirious person. It was visceral. A distress so real that it made me question everything. At first, I thought it was just another delusion. Just another victim of isolation, of the pressure on the human mind. But something in her gaze made me doubt. There was a raw truth in her words, something that stirred me in a way I couldn't explain. She knew something. She felt something, something I still couldn't understand. And that something was consuming me from the inside out, like a seed of paranoia that had started to grow in my mind. Dr. Blackwood was unmoved. He always has an answer for everything. Part of the process, he said, as if we were merely test subjects in a cold experiment. He said that the human mind is a labyrinth, and we can only heal it if we are willing to explore its darkest corners. But now, I am no longer certain that healing is what he seeks. Does he really know what he's doing? Or is there something else, something he's letting slip? Each passing day here, Asylum Blackwood grows stranger, heavier. The air feels thicker, the silence deeper. I hear whispers whenever I'm alone. I cannot identify them, but I know they're there, watching. The walls, they aren't just walls. They breathe. They move. And I'm starting to feel as though the place is slowly swallowing me whole. Sometimes, I believe the very structure of the asylum is changing. The corridors stretch, the shadows lengthen. I see faces in the shadows. I know I do. But when I look directly, they vanish. I, who prided myself on my strong, rational mind, am beginning to question everything. The sense of being watched is constant, but there is never anyone there. And worse, I am beginning to doubt myself. Every step I take here makes me feel smaller, less me. The asylum is starting to consume me, shape my thoughts, turn me against myself. I saw what Sarah saw. Not physically, not with my eyes. But the asylum showed me. It showed me what lies behind closed doors, what hides in the shadows. I no longer know what is real. I don't know if I am the one losing my mind, or if the asylum itself is making me see what should not be seen. I should leave. I know that. But a part of me no longer wants to. The other is already lost. The 27th of September, 1890. I don't know what's happening anymore. I no longer know who I am. The eyes, they're everywhere, watching me. I'm not mad, I saw them. It's not my mind. The shadows, they move. They're not ordinary shadows. They grow, stretch, crawl, and I saw the eyes. Eyes in everything, watching me. Dr. Blackwood, he doesn't understand. He says it's just nerves, but it's not. He doesn't see what's happening. The asylum isn't just a place, it's alive. It's feeding on us. It wants me, I know it. It's calling me. I tried to leave, I ran, but there's no escape. The corridors stretch infinitely, tightening around me, swallowing me. The asylum is trapping me, dragging me in, and the patients, they're no longer human. Their eyes, empty. Dr. Blackwood, he always knew. He brought us here, to feed this monster. He's using us. I screamed, but he didn't hear me. He was calm, serene, while I was losing my sanity. He doesn't understand. He doesn't see. The asylum swallowed me, and I've already been taken. I can't stay any longer. There's no time. I saw the eyes. They're everywhere. I can't go back, I can't. I'm leaving. I need to get out. There's no time left. The Blackwood Asylum is not just a place. It is an open wound in time, where fear lives and breathes. Its corridors muffle the echoes of horrors that should never have been revealed. In the diaries of Edmund Blackwood, in broken confessions, incomprehensible scribbles and distorted visions emerge fragments of a madness that never faded. The walls do not just hold secrets. They feed on terror, waiting for anyone brave enough to unravel them. Every whisper is a living memory, each step a risk of falling into the darkness that has never left. Sign up. But remember, some doors should never be opened. Are you ready to face what the asylum still hides?